Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, Team Ironside. Good morning, love bugs. This is Mrs. Ironside, and I am filming with my phone upside down. So hopefully, when I post it, it will be right side up. I have no idea what I'm doing. But I am enjoying a nice cup of coffee from my mug that Landon got me for Valentine's Day. Thank you, Landon. And I am in my pajamas. I wear different sweatshirts, usually every night when I go to sleep, whichever one I find closest to me. I hope you're in your pajamas. I hope you're staying calm and relaxed and helping your mommies and daddies and brothers and sisters out. And let's get started. Today I was going to do a tutorial on our math mats that I sent home, and I can't because I don't have one expo marker in my house that works. I've had a bunch here, but they've all dried up. So I am going to school today to get some books so I can read a different story every day. So I'm going to go grab all my books at the time that they're giving out lunches from 11 to 1. So remember, you can drive through and get a lunch from 11 to 1, Monday through Friday. Mr. Alsbury and our classified staff will be there. All right, so this is a writing paper, and they recognize it. Now, the journals I sent out, some have this stuff here, some don't. I had to raid the kindergarten closet for all the extras that I could find. So if you have one that looks like it, great. If not, and it's similar, that's fine too, as long as they can keep their writing in one place. And and they're not perfect. You can see the margins off. The machines never work. So first things first, put your name at the top. So I always put my name. Please, parents, I would really appreciate it. This pencil doesn't work so well. If they are writing their first and full last names. This is a really good time to have them practice it. I know at school, some kids get it done lickety-split, and other kids are still on the second letter of their first name because they're just take their time more. And now that there's no time restraints, please have them practice their first and last names. So date, today is, I believe, 3/23/2020. My senior in high school is very upset. We are supposed to be in Flagstaff, Arizona right now, getting ready to go to her appointment at Northern Arizona University. She not only got accepted to their college, but once she was accepted, she applied for their honors college, which is a second application process with essays and all kinds of stuff. And she got in, so we were going for her appointment, and it has to be canceled. We're going to do it by phone. She's very upset, but she realizes can't do anything about it. So, okay. So this narrative story is kind of where you tell them what you're doing. First, this happened, then this happened, last, this happened. That is a narrative. Informational is facts. If we were in school, we would be continuing our informational writing on our different continents. We were on Australia, and we would state facts on Australia. It would be something like Australia is the smallest continent. And whenever you hear that tongue click, that means there's a period. They know that. Excuse me. Australia has kangaroos and didgeridoos. Whatever they would write, we would have a thinking map to go with that. Opinion is think. The most popular word they use is I like, but you could say I think or I feel. I think Brussels sprouts are yummier than bacon because bacon is too salty for me. The kids love that I don't like bacon. They just think it's the craziest thing in the world. I use that example a lot. So they're stating their opinion. I think I feel a certain way about something, and then the word because is usually in there. So that is an opinion. Now, guided is what we're going to be doing with the teacher, where I help them go through the whole steps, and that's what I'm going to be showing you today. So we'll be doing this one today. So we're going to circle guided with teacher. And then independent is completely by themselves. And then I go through this checklist. Some of you have it, some of you don't. It's okay. But it's just kind of a reminder that we go through with them. So the first part of writing is formulating a thought in your brain. I like planting a garden because I think flowers are pretty. Or I like planting a garden because I like to eat fresh vegetables. Or I like to eat fresh fruit. Whatever the thought they're coming up with, have them make sure it's in a complete sentence. So I'll guide you with this one. And then we count the words. I like planting a garden because I like eating fresh vegetables. So 10 and 1 is 11. So when I go back and I'm going through with my words, I'm going to keep that in mind. Now, we say it a couple of times out loud because the hardest thing with emergent writers is they lose their thought, they lose their track, and then they start writing about vegetables and they end up writing about something else, and it's just very easy for them. So let's count again and say, I like planting a garden because I like eating fresh vegetables. I like planting a garden because I like eating fresh vegetables. And then we say, okay, we all know how to start that. So, and the kids at this point would be going, I, and they'd be writing it, I. Can you see that? You can, okay. Because I can use a Sharpie. If for any reason you can't see that, please dojo me, and the next one I'll use a Sharpie. Now a good writer always goes back and reads, and we finger point, and when we're sounding out words, we finger slide. Now we need a Mr. Spacer. We don't have popsicle sticks. I know people say to use their finger, but I really want their helper hand in position at a slant near where they're writing to hold the paper, because their little fine muscles are still developing, and it's sometimes a paper will move and it's hard for them to write. So I'm just going to use a pencil. Now a good writer goes back and reads. I like was the second word. Now this is when I don't give them the answer. I say, what's my next word? And they go, like. Now, like is on the word wall. Like is one of the sight words. And they should all know how to spell like. Now, that says lick. We don't, I lick gardens. No. What letter at the end makes that vowel say its own name, the long sound? And most of them will say the E. Yes. Now, if they say L-I-C, that's they're sounding that out. Like, and most of them in the sound out phase will say the C or the K, but that's a sight word. We've learned it, so hold them responsible for finding it and spelling it correctly. I am going to print out when I go today a word wall list where all of the words are alphabetical and printed, and I will mail them out to you. I found that over the weekend. Now we move this and we go back. I like, what did I say I like to do? I like planting a garden. Oh, planting. I like, and then start with guiding them, planting. Most of them can all hear the first sound in P. So then we move this. And now we go back. I like P. Now this is not a sight word, so we don't just write it. We now finger slide it. I like P, P, P. We have the P. Now they might say, eh. Well, yeah, it is but are you panting? panting a garden, guide them to hear that PL blend. We just started working on the blends, SL, GL, GR, not KR, CR. Well, there are some KR words, but not a lot of. So those blends, pull, L, yes. Okay. Pull. Now we're going to finger slide because we have I like pull, guide them to hear that A. And then go back to finger sliding, because if you don't finger slide and you're just going forward, they will skip sounds because your brain is hardwired to fill in the gaps, but your ears are not. That's why it's important to go back to the beginning. And I don't care if they use their eraser, their fingers, some use their knuckles, some use their pinkies. I mean, some use their little spacers. I don't care what they use. Okay, so I like plant. Yes, they'll hear the T. And I go, yep, there is a T, but is it platting? Platting, there's a sound before that. Plant. And most of the kids are at that point where, as you're helping them and they're sounding it out and you're guiding them, they will hear the sounds. So I like plant gardens. What goes here? I like planting. Boys and girls, tell your mommies and daddies what 3 letters say ing, and they should all be going I-N-G. I have been modeling this all year. Most of them have remembered it at this point. So good. Now, we don't go forward. Remember, a good writer goes back and reads. I like planting. Oh, I'm done with that word. Yep. I like planting. Was it a garden? I like planting gardens because I like to eat fresh vegetables. Yep. No A. I like planting gardens. More than one. Yes, gardens. G, 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 g. Yes, G. Okay. Then I like to get this out of the way so they can use your helper hand. I like planting G. Is that the word? No, they'll say, no, we have to finish this word. And that's because a lot of times when they start writing, they'll do just the I and then just the L and then just the P and then just the G, because they're just writing the first sound they hear in each word. And then months back, we started guiding them to hear the first and the last sound, and then the first, last, and the middle sound. Now we're at the point where we're hearing all of the sounds. So that's the progression. I like planting gardens. G-R. That's that tricky R, isn't it? It's not the mean R, but it's the bossy R, huh? So we know there's an R and there's a vowel. We have remembered, most of us have remembered, there's always a vowel that goes in front of the R. And in this case, it's an A. Now, if they hear an O, it's okay. Let them hear the O, because at that point, they're aware of the fact that there's a vowel before this R. They're just not sure, and all of that will come in first, second, and third grade when they learn spelling instruction. I like planting guard, guard, They're going to hear an I. That's okay. Now, this is where I, as a teacher, say, you know what? It is an I sound we hear. But guess what? And they'll go, it's not the I. And then they'll start guessing. Yep. Boys and girls, this time it's an E. Garden. Gardens. Now, it sounds like a Z, but this is more than one garden. How do we say more than one in our language? I'll ask them, and that's when they will say S. Doesn't matter if it's a Z sound or the S sound. It's an S. Now, the reason why this S, parents, is saying the N sound and not the S sound is because this N sound, N, is voiced. When the N sound, N, is voiced, the S sound gets voiced and makes the Z sound, Z, because when you make the S and the Z in your mouth at the same time, Z, it's the same thing your mouth does with your articulators, your tongue up to the roof of your mouth, and you're blowing air consistently. S has no voice, it's just air. And Z does the same thing, but you add your voice. Z. So this is voiced, but it's always the S. And I tell them sometimes it's an ES, and you'll learn that later in probably second grade, the S and ES, you know, if it ends with a CH or different sounds, it's an ES. If it already ends with an E, it's just an S, all that stuff they'll learn later. So now we're done with this word. We go back. I like planting gardens because, and I have them look. I really don't have enough room, but I really do. So that's up to them if they want to hop over or keep going. I'm going to hop over. So we go hop back over. And that is called in reading a return sweep. So I like painting gardens because. Now, a lot of kids think they need to capitalize here because it's at the beginning of a line. It is at the beginning of a line, boys and girls, but it's not a new sentence, okay? Because is in our sight words. Because. And that is up on the word wall. So we would not sound that out because it would B-E-C-U-Z is what we would get. That word they are responsible for. It's on the word wall. So then I would wait. And at this point, you can press pause while your child finishes. And then we go back. We don't go forward. We always go back. I like planting gardens because next word, like, and I would move this quickly in classroom too because those are sight words that they're very familiar with. I like planting gardens because I like to eat fresh vegetables. Okay. I like planting gardens because I like to is the sight word, so we would go nice and swiftly over to eat. A lot of them are going to say E because E-double-E says E. Yes, and you say, good job hearing that E. Yes, but in this case, it's an E and an A making that sound. E and A together also make the E sound. So now we go back. Eat. Good. And then T. Yes, eat. Good job. I don't have room. I'm going to hop back over. I like planting gardens because I like to eat fresh. And they would hear a lot of kids. Some kids might say the V and say, well, because it's made the same way, again, with the S and the Z, the F and the V are V and F. Both made the same way. One is voiced, one is unvoiced. So say not volcano, but fish. Here's a blend. They might say esh. Go back and say there's a sound in there. Are they fresh vegetables? They'll say no, fresh. And the thing is, don't do it for them. Have them physically sounding out these words. They need to be saying them. Passive and expressive. Have them expressively say it themselves. So they're going to be saying some might hear the I. So guide them. Is it ish, frish? No, it's not the I. Oh, elephant. Shh. That is the ship, shoe, shovel sound, boys and girls. And I will try to remember to put those on the word wall stuff I mail out to you. I'll draw a little picture or something for you. Fresh. S-H. Fresh. Okay, so we're done with this word. Now we go back to the beginning. I like planting gardens because I like to eat fresh vegetables. Oh, now we hear the v. This is a long one. This will be a good one to help you learn how to help them sounding out. V. Okay. V. Ve, they hear the G. Veg, j. They're going to hear the J. And it's okay if they hear the J. Some put the J down and they're done. I do model for them and say, you know what? It is the J sound, but it's not the J. It's the G. And they're like, what? And I tell them, I know. And then we say, who do we blame? And the kids go, Mr. Webster, because our language is crazy. Veg, again, sounds like the I, it is an E. And you guide them. Now, if they're going through and doing vegetable really fast and they're doing the I's, let it be. Let it be. It's okay. Veget, veget, sounds like a U. It's not the U. This is where I guide them. It does sound like the U, but it's not the U. It's an A. Some kids have to write it correctly. Other kids, they want to do it their way with the sounds that they hear. It's okay. They're in kindergarten. That's what we want them to do. They'll get their direct instruction on all of those vowel sounds and such starting next year, if it's the A or the E or the I or the O or the U, and then that'll start where they'll need to do it correctly. Right now, let them have the confidence in the fact that they can sound out a big syllabic word like vegetables. Vegetable, bulls. Now there's the L. The L is voice, so it sounds like a Z, but they should all remember that we say more than one. How do we say more than one? We put an S. Yes, they should be going S. So, and they don't know there's an E at the end of that. Say, yep, but there's an E, and just leave it at that. Vegetables. And, all right. I like planting gardens because I like to eat fresh vegetables. And there's the period. Then we go through and did you remember your capital letter? Yep. Check. Did you use spaces? This is where some of the kids struggle. They'll just write everything in one big line. Really help them. I do go around and say beautiful writing, but I see, I don't know where your words end and start. And they go, oh, my spacer. So make sure that they're starting to remember their spaces with Mr. Spacer. Did I use punctuation? Yep, here it is. Check. Now they can do an exclamation point too. This is for telling. This is for yelling, like I'm really, really excited. And the question mark is for asking. So they can use either of the period or the exclamation point on most sentences, but on interrogative with question sentences, you'll want to make sure they do the question mark. Did I write neatly? And this is a thing where some kids will go really, really fast and sloppy and get it done to be the first one to get done. Now they don't have to do that. So it's a good time to have them slow down and write neatly. So I use punctuation. I wrote neatly. Does it make sense? Now, sometimes if they don't go back and do the pointing, they'll leave out some words, it'll put some other words, it'll flip-flop, and if it makes sense, we put a check. If it's kind of struggling, just circle that. Now, we'll skip this one. Did I sound out my words? That's on these words: planting, gardens, vegetables, fresh. Those are sounding out words. Those are the ones that aren't sight words that you use all the time. So yes, we sounded out. And did we write our sight words correctly? Did I use I and like and to? Those are the words, and because that they are held responsible for on their own. And I tell them and I show them at school. I'll point on the word wall. Look, that's under the B, but because, and I have a little laser and I show them, and then they go back and they fix it. So yes, we did that. Now, making a nice picture. A nice picture is exactly that, a nice picture. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes drawing a picture. It needs to have at least 5 to 10 details. Right now, the picture has to match the words. It needs to be outside. Gardens are outside. We need to see the ground. We need to see the sky. We need to see, an area that is garden, maybe some green leaves popping up. Maybe you and mom and dad and brother, sister, dog outside. Is it sun shining? Is it raining? Are you watering it? Are you picking the plants? Or are you going to do a small little garden and then a plate with vegetables on it for you eating? Pictures must match the words. And some of the kids, they do try to just do this. And I'll say, what's that? That's me. Those are my vegetables. No more of this. No more of this. Okay, boys and girls? Some will spend an hour on their picture. So I've got both ends of the spectrum. So that, in a nutshell, is guided writing. And they can do it with me every day, a guided, and then they can do an independent. And if they do independent, you can also circle whatever this is. So if they read a story, like I went to my grandma's house yesterday. First, we made cookies. Then we watched Disney Channel. And then I took a nap. That is a story. First, next, last. They can do an independent informational facts. 3 things I hate about having to stay home. 1, I miss my friends. 2, I miss my teacher. 3, I miss recess. Those are informational facts. Or, Australia is the smallest continent. Or now, opinion is I like chocolate pudding because it is rich and creamy. So those are the different types of writing, and they can do independent by themselves or guided with teacher, and you're the teacher too. Some are still needing the guidance, some are not. Some just need the guidance to slow down, not be sloppy, and remember their spaces and to remember their beautiful pictures. Okay, so let me see if I can get this out. See, I have it up on a Ritz box, so it would be high enough. And let's see. Oh, hey, hi, that's me. Way close in your face. Sorry about that. So, like I said, I'm in my pajamas. I'm in my little art room. I got all my clay everywhere. Everywhere, all my beads, everything. My chains, my wire. Maybe someday I'll show you some of the stuff. So for now, that's what I can do because I don't have books or an expo marker, but I will get them this afternoon and I will be in touch. I really hope this isn't upside down. I love you all, and ready? Let's do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Team Ironside rocks. Don't forget your dab, boys and girls. My senior in high school is looking at me like I'm crazy. I should just get out of the way so I wouldn't show her. All right. I love you guys. I miss you. Okay. Oh, and I'm sending a survey on Class Dojo. So fill it out. Be honest. It is confidential. It's the best way that us kindergarten teachers can help you during this, and what you need so we can try to get those things for you. Okay. Love you all. Bye.